Barb,
We're there now.
pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was forwarded to the official township newspapers, posted on the bulletin board and township website on January 8, 2022. This meeting is being videotaped and will be on Channel 9.
Roll call.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Deegan?
Here.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Here.
Mrs. Blaine?
I'm here.
Mayor Bruno?
Here. I get a motion to open the first public portion for resolutions and ordinances below.
I make a motion we open the first public portion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I get a motion to close the first public portion.
I make a motion we close the first public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I get a motion to approve correspondence and reports.
I make a motion we approve correspondence and reports.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I get a motion to approve the minutes from December 28, 2021 and January 1st, 2022.
Make a motion we approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that was the round.
No, December 28th,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was not here, so I abstained as well.
You can do it.
First, I was.
Yes, yes.
You're off.
I get a motion to approve the 2022 licenses.
Make a motion we approve the licenses.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I get a motion to approve resolution R 2522, authorizing annual salary increases for unrepresented employees.
I make a motion that we approve R 2522.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
I recuse myself.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. I get a motion to approve R 2622, appointing Rosemary Flaherty as housing inspector and establishing salary and hours.
I make a motion to approve R 2622.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Taking a motion to approve resolution R 2722, authorizing a temporary trailer permit in accordance with the ordinances of Franklin Township.
I make a motion that we approve R 2722.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Taking a motion to approve R 2822, approving professional services contract, zoning board of adjustment.
I would like to make a motion to amend R 2822 and strike out the $8,000 and just convert it to hourly.
We'll get a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Taking a motion to approve resolution R 2922, authorizing a cooperative pricing agreement between the Township of Franklin and Sourcewell, formerly NJPA.
I make a motion to approve R 2922.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Taking a motion to approve R 3022, appointing contact person for the employment practices liability helpline, Gloucester, Salem, Cumberland Counties Municipal Joint Insurance Fund.
I make a motion that we approve R 3022.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve R 3122, authorizing the lease of 8 vehicles via a nationally recognized co-op with Sourcewell from Enterprise Fleet Management?
I make a motion that we approve R 3122.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve R 3222, appointing, oh boy, Salvatore, come on, Catania, Tang guy, as electrical subcode for the Township of Franklin.
I make a motion that we approve the Irish guy, R 3222.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Petullo?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to, on the introduction of ordinance, the public hearing will be January 25th, 2022, 0122, amending ordinance 01311 of the Code of the Township of Franklin entitled Municipal Court and adopting a new Chapter 86 entitled Joint Municipal Court, Township of Franklin, and add Borough of Newfield.
I make a motion that we introduce 0122.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Petullo?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to introduce ordinance 0222, establishing the Department of Code Enforcement and Land Use, including divisions?
I make a motion that we introduce 0222.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Petullo?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to open the second public portion for any comments?
I'll make a motion we open the second public portion.
Second.
Good evening. Renee Pistoli, Leah Party, 2787 East Grand Avenue. Congratulations, Jake. Happy New Year, all. Since we're starting another new year, I'm going to go right back to it. Over a year ago, I asked about a permit that was pulled, and that had two different interpretations from the zoning and the construction. At that point, I was told that the solicitor was changing over, that we were going to wait. This solicitor's now been here for over a year, and we didn't have guys in our construction departments, so I see that we have just done that. Are we going to revisit this? Do I need to resend this?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what you're talking about. Refresh my memory.
There was a property that one permit was put in for saying that it was new construction, and then on the other side it was saying on the same footprints. There has been other violations given out to different businesses that have built on their properties and changed, or they were in violation. The pool guy, people like that. So none of these, the people that got the violations were never on committee and were never mayor, but this particular one has been sitting for over a year and nothing being done.
Matt?
We reviewed that, Mayor. I'd have to touch base with the current zoning officer if there's any follow-up resuscitated. I'm not aware.
We'll give you an answer,
This year?
if you're lucky.
Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor, and congratulations. Nancy Kennedy, 711 St. George Street. It's funny, I think it was probably about 12 or 13 years ago, I'd have to think how old my kids are, that I first got really involved in politics in Franklin Township. And the reason that I did that was because at the time, and I won't name the members of the administration, basically good people, but I thought they were misguided. And they were misguided in the sense that they were using their power inappropriately in a really strange way. They were taking members of committees, volunteer committees, who were really good people who just wanted to serve the public, had the best of intentions, and they were kind of unilaterally taking them off, and they were putting other people on. And this year I heard of somewhat of a similar circumstance, at least one, arguably more than one, and I just wanted to take a minute to ask, how did the committee this year go about determining who was going to be on each particular board? And Mayor, I'll let you and Committeewoman Flame off the hook right away. I think you're the only two committee people sitting up there who aren't related to some of the people who were appointed to the boards. And that's not to impugn those people who were appointed, because they're some of the most qualified people in this township to sit there. Not some of them, notwithstanding. How did we go about determining who was going to be on the boards this year? Were there letters of interest sent?
There were in some cases there were letters sent.
Mr.
A
Deegan,
lot from the senior committee.
thank you. Mr. Deegan, did your son-in-law submit a letter of interest for the planning board?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, not this year.
No.
So how did you know that he was still interested? You happened to talk to him?
Mr. Petch, the chairman of the board, also spoke.
Oh, that's funny, because well, we won't go there. But so it was your determination that your son-in-law was the most qualified person to sit on that board, and you felt comfortable voting on that?
I haven't voted on it. What you mean in terms of, he was a alternate, moved up to a permanent seat.
When he was moved up to a permanent seat, there were people who were on the planning board who were not reappointed this year. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Why on earth were they taken off?
Jim Moore asked to be taken off.
Okay.
And then there was another one where you fill it with a position with someone who sits on the environmental committee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the gentleman that was sitting on, placed in that position last year, didn't attend any of the environmental meetings. So we thought, as a group, that in the spirit of fulfilling that obligation, that individual should go to the meetings, understand their concerns, be filled with somebody from the committee.
So it's your position that as a group, that decision was reached? Because what I'm hearing is that most members of this committee were not even aware and in fact believed that the person in question was going to be reappointed.
I believe it came from the chairman. We asked the chair people if they had suggestions, and we got lots of suggestions.
Wait a minute, let's go back to that statement.
Okay.
We met and talked about that position.
Okay, Mary, it's my understanding that you believed that, and I think it's clear who we're talking about, that the person in question was reappointed. You had a list, and you believed it had been taken care of, you represented that, and this person was going to be appointed, correct?
Well, I know we were in the talks of meetings and how we were going to see if things were going to be.
Other meetings could be changed.
And it was changed, environmental was changed, correct?
And let me say, I wasn't the one that initiated them being replaced. So I don't know why the questioning is directed at me. It's
What?
something we all voted on.
It's something you all voted on, but again, Mr. Dean, and I apologize, but because when I looked at who was on the committee, who was made new on the committee this year, and that person is directly related to you, and because of questions that we've had about your relationship with other people previously, yes, it drew, and
God, how many people have you hired within this township that didn't even file an application?
do you want to talk about my personnel, Mr. Deegan? You might want to talk to your counsel about that. But before we go there,
Mayor, this is public comment. This is not a cross-examination.
I'm sorry.
The public is entitled to make comment, and that's the purpose of public session. This is clearly beyond that at this point.
well, I would submit that what's beyond is the response that was given. I'm certainly entitled in public comment to ask any question I want. And if the committee is directed not to answer, then certainly that's the prerogative of the solicitor.
That is not what I said.
Well, I just
And
want it clear.
I understand that changing what people say can happen here. What I said was, it's public comment. I didn't instruct anyone not to answer.
Are you instructing me not to ask questions?
No, I did not.
Wonderful, so we're clear. So then, at this point, everyone did know that this person was going to be removed and agreed that that was appropriate? Because that's not what's been circulated in the
Again,
public.
The comments are directed to the chair, and the chair has the right to handle it in any way he sees fit. It's not a question and answer session for every member of the governing body. That's not how the Open Public Meetings Act and Robert's Rules works.
I'm happy to direct it to you, Mayor.
I can tell you that it was discussed about the meetings being on the same night as the school board meeting. The attendance was this individual never attended environmental. We reached out to see if they would change the meeting, and we never got an actual answer until after the first or
It was last week.
that we never officially got an answer saying they're willing to change the meeting environmental.
There's just one thing that it's completely unrelated. I can come back up if you'd prefer, but I just wanted to let you know. I don't think it's the fault of the committee, but every single employee of the township, in litigation I'm reviewing for myself, every single employee's, the last 4 digits of their social security numbers have been posted ostensibly by the clerk or whoever was posting them on the internet. Somebody might just want to pull that because it's a little bit of a security breach for the employees. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Thanks.
We'll look into that. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Mr. Mayor, again, congratulations. You and I were talking about the irony of running in Franklin Township. It's very good to run with an R behind your name. Very, very good. Yeah, well, in the last 5 years or so, but there's demographics point out that in towns with less than 8,000 population per square mile, it's highly effective to be running as an R. I guess the one anomaly would be Buna, where there were problems with the fire department there. But in any case, Mayor, congratulations, and again, I think with the hand you've been dealt, that's all we can all do is play with the hand we're dealt, and you've certainly done a commendable job, and thank you for your continued service to Franklin Township. And again, as we know, that service was very tenuous in terms of many circumstances that happened this year. And thankfully, in terms of being able to count to 14, somebody wasn't able to do that, and you were on the ballot, which was very beneficial for the residents of Franklin Township. Not so beneficial for those that weren't able to count to 14. But in any case, my comments have to do with a little bit of a comparison. To me, serving on Township Committee is a lot like going to the annual League of Municipalities at the Borgata in Atlantic City. It's very similar. Some people go for the parties, some go for the attractions, some go to be on another floor than all the other members of the Township Committee, some go for the personal meetings, and some go for their personal benefit. And again, I think what Nancy said was very true. You and Heather are unique in terms of 40% of the Township Committee. You have no relatives appointed to any other body. And again, Mr. Deegan, if when my 5 minutes is up, you want to comment, I served 5 terms as mayor up there, and I'd like you to name one person that I appointed that was a relative of mine. I don't think you'll be able to find one. I think it's very important that we understand what nepotism is. I think it's very important that we understand what open public meetings are. And I think it's very important that we understand the difference between honest criticism and those that would promote their enemies list to go after those that they want to go after. But in any case, I wish you all the best of a happy new year. I hope you have a great year for Franklin Township, because it's to the benefit of all of us that you do. And best of luck with your new departments and your new ability to enforce codes and to do the proper zoning. Hopefully there'll be a thorough evaluation of everything from the Clayton line all the way to the end of Harding Highway as to compliance with all the zoning regulations and with all the rules and with all the promises that were made to the different bodies as to what would be done on those properties. I also would suggest that in a population of 16,000, it's pretty easy to find people that are willing to serve that aren't necessarily related. And to remove that aura of nepotism is probably a good idea. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
I just want to comment on something you said, Harry. I remember years ago I sat on the planning board. I'm sure you remember that as well.
Yes.
And didn't know many people, didn't know anybody, and I was removed from the planning board. I think you were the chairman at that time. Now I can tell you with 100% certainty from the people sitting up here that there was no malice or ill will towards anybody when that decision was made.
Glad to hear it.
And
Jake,
if this individual wants to have a conversation with me, I'll be happy to have a conversation with that individual.
Jake, you and I both left at the same time. You and I served together. I left the same year that you left. I resigned from the planning board.
No, you were made chairman.
You and I served together. You were on the board when I was chairman. I resigned the same time that you left at the exact same time, Jake.
You got mad and quit because they
No, I
kicked me
didn't
off?
get mad. Not mad at all.
I thought you resigned to support
No,
me.
not at all, Jake. I resigned because the planning board wasn't my favorite board to serve on.
Mine either.
I don't blame you.
Can you get a motion to, you coming?
Comment. I hadn't planned, Jason Brandt, Rosebud Avenue, Newfield. I hadn't planned on commenting this evening, but it seems as they're on the topic of discussion. Yeah, and unbeknownst to me, I mean, thank you for anybody who made comments defending me, but certainly I can mount my own defense if necessary. I did, at the time I wasn't reappointed, reach out to Dave. Dave gave me the explanation. I was satisfied with that explanation. So I want to clarify that, whether or not, I agree with it or not. It was a decision that was made, and you did answer the question. So also there's talk about your son-in-law being appointed or reappointed, but I just wanted to go on the record as saying that, I served on the board with your son-in-law. He's an excellent candidate for the board, and I'm sure he'll fill the position greatly. I can't think of anyone else who would be better suited. So I don't want that to any comments that were made to be disparaging to your son-in-law, because I did serve with him for a year, and he's an excellent member. So just wanted to clarify that. So, sure. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to close the second public portion?
I make a motion, we close the second public portion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports, I believe Heather has something to say.
Okay,
I wanted to get you
some phone
before-
calls and some emails. We did get to the bottom of it, and the trash and recycling is a day behind from the snowstorm. And yes, we are aware of the leak problem collecting the water now from the snow, causing ice in front of residents' homes, and then putting their trash cans out on the street in this icy condition in the polar vortex of what we're having right now. I also just wanted to mention, for those of you that are not paying close attention, that unfortunately the governor has reinstated the public health emergency. Although he states that we're not going backwards, I'm not sure how we're going forwards. So keep your eyes peeled and on target with what's going on the state level. That will direct us and the school districts as to what is going on.
Thank you. Mary?
No, I don't
Okay,
have.
take it now. Tim?
I attended the Unity Club meeting. Chip Zimmer was there. We discussed success of the shop and how there was an outpouring of money after the fact. So they're already planning for next year for a bigger area and to do more kids. And forming a separate nonprofit to keep track of that process. Already we have more money now than we had when we started last year. So the success continues.
Terrific.
Dave?
I'll give my time to Mary.
Oh,
She said no, everybody heard it.
what? I'm sorry.
I have nothing to report, Mary.
Get my thoughts together. I really got to meet with the historical committee last night, who the library donated a lot of all the books of New Jersey because they're getting ready for the construction. So that was really interesting to see all the different books of New Jersey. You wouldn't be amazed of how many books of New Jersey there actually are, and how long it actually took to go through to see which ones would actually complement us versus North and Central, and so that was fun. But it was nice to get back in there, and so really that's it. And just hope for everybody to stay warm and safe with the ice.
I just want to talk about what Heather said. I mean, there have been some problems with the timing of the snow, the leaf collection. One of the machines went down, so that only left us with one. The problem now is the snow is laying on top of the piles of leaves. So I don't know how much success we're going to have sucking the leaves up with all the frozen snow on top of them right now. We are behind one day with the trash pickup, but again, that was because of the snow. Other than that, thanks for coming out. Hope we have a good year. And make a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I did.
And then
I did.
second.
I'm not going to say no again. I did just want to point out that, only from knowing some of what went down with the planning board, I did want to reiterate that I know that Joe Sweet, he was placed at, again, Joe Petcher's request, because my father, at his request, because Jim Moore was having some issues, he asked to be taken off. And so it was at his request that Joe's weight be put in Jim's spot. So if that helps clarify anything with that, I hope that can be because avoid the situation that was abroad.
Thank you, Mary. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming out.